Really appreciate having you on again. Like I said, just taking your time out to do this. Um, with everything. How's the not to sound corny? How's the weather out there? We just got hit with some more snow.
Man, you know what? There was a bad storm about 2 days ago and knocked out my power for like 3 hours. Man, I was so pissed, especially because I was in the
Dang.
middle of something, some a creative process. So kind of pissed me off. But
Ooh.
over here in the Midwest, man, it just kind of it really fluctuates. It could be terrible. The next day, it could be super nice. So you just got to make sure you're prepared at all times. Kind of like how it is over there, I'm assuming.
Yeah, New England is such an odd creature. We just like this if you just look at this week, like Monday it was 60, yesterday was windy and cold. Now today we have snow. Like just doesn't make sense. You get literally every season within a week.
That's how it is over here in the shy, bro. Like straight up.
Yeah. It's wild, but what can you do? What can you do? I'm just gonna close a couple of these tabs here. So
Hmm.
we just going live with us. But what's going on, everybody that is tuned in or watching this later on? This is Right Mind Wednesdays. My name is Jay Faith. Make sure that you follow us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all of our wonderful social media platforms to stay in tune with what's going on. Make sure you follow our ambassadors. We have Blaise Training as well as Turntable Teachers, some amazing people that work behind the scenes. Also, make sure you follow Ethos Focus, who is also a big contributor to this platform. So make sure you follow all of them, and make sure that you stay intact with what's going on with Right Mind. But enough about me. Today is about this man to my right. I don't know what direction everybody else's is, but we're gonna get into it. This is my man RedXLion. What's going on, man? How you doing?
Yo, what up? I'm doing good. What's going on, y'all? My name is RedXLion. Doing great today. I'm really thankful to be here. I appreciate Jay Faith and everybody behind the scenes setting this up. We're gonna have a good conversation. So if anybody got any questions, regarding anything we talk about, go ahead. Everything's on the table. I ain't gonna really hide nothing. You got something to ask, I'm gonna say it. So
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's what's up. So I've always wanted to ask, like, where does Red X Lion come from?
honestly, bro, I wanted to make something up real quick. Like, oh yeah, it's like my favorite color and the first letter of my daughter's name and my favorite. That's not true. It was super random. It was like 2016. I was just my old rap name was Hood Rich, and I didn't really manifest that name anymore. It didn't click anymore. Like
Mm,
all the new music I was doing, it just didn't fit with that name and with my past and everything because I was just changing as a human being. So I figured why not change
okay.
my name? And so I was kind of writing stuff on paper, and I was just trying to go with something that just sounds like a little, like just off, like something that's like, nobody's got or something. I just came up with that. So it was really nothing special. I was just writing in a notebook, and that's just how it came up.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely a good thing too, because like you said, like kind of separating yourself, because there's so many people that kind of either like mimic or make their name too almost unsearchable by it being so common
Yeah.
that like so it's hard. I don't know how, for example, like Logic does it, because if you just type like Logic, you could pull up a bunch of different things before you even get to music. But
Right.
he's fortunately been enough to reach a level of success where his name just automatically pops to the top. But
That's a
you
blessing.
know but it's things like that that I think people have to recognize when choosing, your kind of stage name, or name that you're going to represent your brand by. Is
Right.
how is that something that you is searchable and different than what everybody else is doing?
Yeah. Exactly. The only competition every time I put my name in is the Red Lion hotels, and then maybe like way at the bottom is like Red Lion pub or bar or whatever. But yeah, there's not really that
Mm,
much competition. So once I start making some moves, I'll probably move up.
yes, sir. Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's all it takes. I think the more you just, with the consistency and everything else, and just doing stuff like this, you know, just more places where your name is actually put is where it starts to spread out and you get pushed up that top of the list.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you mentioned like a change in who you are as a person. What was that change like? Was it something that was
Oh wow.
related to what you were putting into your music, or was it more of like a personal thing that you kind of overcame, if you care to share?
Uh, no, yeah, yeah. I'll share it all. It's just, man, that's such a long. I can go so many ways. So I'm trying to think.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess I can start off. I know it's kind of corny, but I guess I could start off by saying how I started rapping, and it was in the worst way imaginable.
Mm,
Every bad reason you could think of that I started rapping. That's why I did it, for attention, because I was 16 years old and I wasn't good at anything, and I wanted to be good at something. I wanted to be, oh, this is Rich. He's a great rapper, and
mm,
you could ask anybody. The most they'll probably say about me back then when I was a teen, probably I was funny. That's probably it. But I mean, that's nothing special. Everybody can be funny. So I don't know. So it's just I started because I was insecure. I wanted attention, power, you could say. So it was really for all the wrong reasons. I was in high school, and a new kid transferred in from Kansas. He was a rapper, and when I heard him spit in the
mm,
lunchroom, and I saw everybody crowd around him, like, ooh, wow, I was like, damn, I want that, you know. So
mm,
the way I started off, I would listen to really famous artists, and I would take their flow, but just insert bars that related to me. So I have no musical bone in my body. None of my parents, nobody ever did music, so I wasn't talented at all when I first started out. So I was kind of taking other big artists' lyrics and just switching them so it pertained to my life. It's kind of like mimicking their flow, so I can start getting a rhythm, start learning how to make music. And kind of follow their patterns and study them to see how this creation, how it works. And then I figured a good name to come up with was Hood Rich, because it was just something that you hear and you get an image. You know what I'm saying? Like you
mm.
like you hear it and you kind of already expect something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Yep.
I figured that was the best name to go with. Um, Particularly when I started rapping, like I said, I did it for all the wrong reasons. So my actions while rapping weren't that noble either. I changed a lot as a person throughout the years. I've hurt a lot of people, um, and it was really just to get a rise or just something real stupid. It wasn't worth it. I know it sounds like I'm downplaying myself or talking bad about me, but it's just the growth, man. It's the truth. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh yeah, I was a white knight from the start. I was all about the culture from this. That's not what
Yeah.
it was. So all the way up to like 2015, 2016, it's like my music started changing. Like I stopped lying. Like, like I stopped putting on an image. Um, I would only sprinkle some truth and just like inflate it with some other stuff so it sounded really good. But then like just when I was making certain songs, 2015, 2016, it was just like nothing but truth, and it was so raw that like I just couldn't put that on that old name to that old person and how people viewed me as that name and that person. So
Mm.
yeah, I mean, man, that's like the short version of why
I
I
feel,
changed my
I feel
name.
you.
But yeah, that pretty much sums it up on why the whole change to RedXLion and the kind of music I'm
Sure.
making right now.
For sure. Yeah, I mean you definitely have to find those areas of growth that fall into that. I remember when I first started, not to get too much into myself, but it's a very close mirror image. I grew up listening to what really got me into making music was DMX, Rough Riders. And when I first started writing, I was like, yo, I'm a rough rider. I'm gonna be a rough rider. I'm writing like, I got chains and cars and girls and just like completely, and these weren't things that I had actually recorded yet. And I was just like, I look back at it now and I'm like, man, like I shake my head sometimes, but and then eventually I started getting into more of the deeper side of DMX, those kind of hard hitting deeper songs. And I was
Yeah.
like, okay, I need to be a little bit more real when it comes to what I'm putting together. And just like you said, like it took time, and you gotta figure it out and just realize, what it is that you're trying to seek, and also just not, come off as somebody that you're not. Um, I think that's very important.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned DMX. A lot of people only know him for his like commercial hits, but man, his real deep stuff, man, it hits like a truck. Let me tell you. And like
Hmm.
I know some people would think, his voice and the way he raps, like he couldn't possibly make like a deep song or anything. But yeah, there's definitely some hits where I would like back then where I would listen to and I'd be like, man, this dude's really spinning something, man. Like he's actually putting his full emotion and being vulnerable. That's super important to me now. Being vulnerable, that's
Hmm.
like the most important thing that I look for like when writing a song right now. So
Hmm. Yeah, that's definitely a lot of the content that I've been writing currently now myself, um, and almost making somewhat of another change in myself, fairly recently, is really focusing on that vulnerability in the content. Um, And I love how you said earlier, it was, I kind of sprinkled a little bit of this, mixed in with a little bit of that, more so. And again, it's weird. I say this because it's like such like a mirror image for me. A lot of like my projects, like I've said this before, maybe like my project Right Mind to my project before that last one out, a lot of it was like sprinkled with a little bit of me, and
mhm.
then highly influenced by the the core group that I was around at the time. And this is no shot at them by any means, but it was like
Yeah,
one of those things. I was like, I'm just around these people. I want them to listen to my music instead of just, I mean, probably just really just like you said, being vulnerable and just putting everything of how I want it to be and who I am versus trying to, I mean, I would say try to appease people, just, making music just to appease people instead of just fully making the music of how and who I am.
yeah, and I absolutely agree. And like sometimes, like on that note, it's really okay. Like for me, the number one important thing for an artist, like for me, bro, like vulnerability. And it's not what you say; it's how you say it, and that's how you really get people to really sink into your music. Because you could say the rawest thing ever, bro, and the way you deliver it, if it's ass, it's not gonna hit people, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So I think with being vulnerable and definitely picking and choosing how you say things and wording it, you could even make it where it is about you, but it's also your audience can take it where it's about them. You know what I'm saying? They can
Hmm.
kind of reflect on that. Instead of you see me, it's either we or just put a situation where it could be anyone. So it's just, I mean, that's just the way that I think it would really work. But like when I was hearing you talk about that it really reminded me how I sit down and like think about things and write and the way I structure my music and everything.
Hmm. Yeah, because I mean, that realistically, that's how I started, and was my intent of why I started making music, was to make music that was able to connect to other people. But
Hmm.
what I was unfortunately doing was, I wasn't trying to connect through necessarily like my own experiences, but again, like sprinkling it with other things just to appease the crowd that I was in.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's the way that it's structured and put together that really connects with, for me as a listener. Like I refer to DMX again, some of those hard hitting songs that aren't on the mainstream. Those were songs that I was like, yo, like I can definitely relate to this because of just how it was delivered and what he was even talking about. A song like "I Miss You," talking about losing his grandmother. Like, I've lost family members, and just you know it's like one of those things, like you hear from somebody else and then you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense, even though other people have told you. But again, just hearing it from somebody that you look up to, and them being like, no, like I go through these things too, like it almost like flipped it for me. And
Hmm.
being, I think that was one of those first times of, I guess you could say, like really recognizing celebrities don't have, it's not all it's cracked up to be. Like they're still just as human as we all are. I
Right.
know, growing up we just think like they have this, crazy lavish lifestyle and everything's all peachy keen, but then
It's all front,
you
man.
really look at, yeah, or it's, it's like what social media is today. They only put up the good stuff, and you don't see the negative. But when you've, what connects me to an artist is who they are as a person, and some of the things that they've overcome. Like I watched DMX's, back when they had it, VH1 Behind the Music, and I watched that and I learned everything that he went through, the ups and downs, the highs and the lows, and I was like, man, I never thought it was like this. But it helped me connect so much more, and just being vulnerable and putting who you are as a person out there, for the world to see almost.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, I want to do a quick shout out to a couple of people in my life that were mentors, even though they didn't know they were to me. Um, one of them
Who'd
recently just died. His name is Sirius
Okay, man.
Matters, aka Robin Masters. That man was a hermit to the core. He would not speak to anyone. And the only way that he found me, he saw me do an interview just like this. And he hit me up on Facebook and said, I want to meet you. It was the weirdest thing ever. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was just the weirdest thing, just getting a
Mm-hmm.
message like, I want to meet you. And I'm just like, okay. And then my wife was like, you're crazy. You're going to bring him to that. You don't even know him. And I'm like, I don't know. I just got a feeling, you know what I'm saying? So then when he came through, I was just, just whatever, like a normal person. Hey, what's up? He's like, where's the lab at? And I'm like, okay. So we just go straight to the lab, and he pops in his album, and we listen to it front to back. And the content he was talking about, I didn't think it was okay to talk about it. Being vulnerable, um, relationship problems, because my first introduction to rap was boasting, bragging, partying. It was none like that. So
Mm-hmm.
up until that point, when I hear him talk about his family, alcoholism, suicide, and stuff, I'm just like, why does this hit so hard? Why does this sound so good? And I'm like, I'm bobbing my
Yeah.
head to it, even though it's something real bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's he taught me so much, bro. Rest in peace. Like, and like, I never told him he was my mentor. I never told him he taught me that, but like, I really studied him. And to any artist, up and coming artist that's listening right now or that will listen later, it's really important for you to get a mentor, bro. I know ego plays a huge thing in rap. I know it does, but you really gotta bite down and let that pride go and really study someone or be friends with someone and really just learn. Always be a student. And I really learned a lot from him. And the crazy thing is, bro, it's gonna sound really horrible. I don't even know how he died, but I was just told that he passed away. And I haven't spoke to him in 5 years. Because like I said, he's such a hermit. Like he literally talks to no one. He deletes all his social
Mm-hmm.
media. He cuts off his phone and he disappears for like, 3, 4 years, like he always does. So I think, he's gonna come back, and then I find
Word.
out through social media that he died, and it really hit me so hard. And a lot of people have died on me this year. I lost a homie to cancer, and I lost my grandmother early. I'm sorry, not this year, last year. So I lost a lot of people. So I'm just kind of numb to everything, like it's not, I don't think any of their deaths hit me right now, and
Yep.
maybe it will later. Maybe it will in a song or something, but I know I'm getting a little off topic with everybody else, but with the mentors, get yourself a mentor, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm telling you, you're going to learn so much. If you're looking from from a different point of view, it's just going to elevate your music to another level, man, straight up. And even you as a person.
Yeah, you definitely have to surround yourself with people, and even as I'm just thinking of this on the fly. Even it's almost like you want to surround yourself with people that are not like-minded than you, just so that you can have that other perspective. Because I feel like if you have too many people that are on the same wavelength with you, in a sense, you want them to be on the same wavelength. I know you know what I'm saying, but at
Yeah,
the same time you want them to be on a different level, because like you need that opposite opinion, you need that other perspective, you need somebody to be like, nah, probably not, try something different. Because I've said it a bunch of times on here, is you start getting into that yes man kind of
oh yeah,
mentality, and then it doesn't do any benefit for you, and then you just fall into, you think everything is good, and on the outside it's reality is completely different.
yeah, absolutely. And it's, you know, when you've been in the game for so long, I mean, I've been in hip hop for 15, almost 16 years now. Professionally, you would say like maybe 12, but I mean, it's like you see so many people come and go, so many fake faces, so many people saying yes, yes, yes when they really mean no, 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 and it's just it's it's hard to surround yourself with the right people, but everyone just know that when you find them, hold on to those people as long as you can, man. Even if you don't end up, even if you don't talk to them anymore, reach out, say what's up, tell them how you feel about those certain situations where they helped you out with music. Because I totally regret not doing that with all of my mentors. I mean, the
Hmm.
only one that passed, obviously, but all the other ones, like one of my first ones, it's my first job ever. I was working at a Kmart, and it was overnight stock. And this guy's like, "Yeah, I do music. Only owe me two." And I was totally thinking about, because there was like this image of him that I thought he was gonna make a certain type of music. And the first song he played was about his son, how much he loved his son, how much like the his son's like potential and everything, and it made me cry. And I'm just like, I did not know you could talk about this, bro. Like straight up, like without being like clowned on or anything. And it was just something magical, man. And like, I really got to thank these people um, from the bottom of my heart, just to make me the artist that I am today. So I appreciate y'all. Y'all know who you are. Gator, shout out to Gator from the West Side of Chicago. One of my mentors, Robin Masters. Rest in peace. Yeah, it's hard, man, but like I said, y'all got to really surround yourself with people with different views, different type of styles, lifestyles too. You can't hang around with the same people, doing the same thing, or else you're never gonna grow.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. That's, and I know that sometimes that can be one of the harder things, is that networking piece, and kind of stepping outside of your comfort zone to meet people who aren't in the same like-minded mindset that you're in, to be able to have that growth. But I think those are the biggest opportunities that I found for myself, in just talking with people who weren't J Faith style, and
Right,
were had their own different type of style that was completely opposite of mine, but was like, yo, like, but they could agree with some of the things that I was doing, but they were like, hey, like, I think it'd be cool if you tried this or did this, and to hear a different sound and try something different. It's so important, and people really need to be open to that, and be open to people kind of coaching them, being that mentor. It's okay to keep it's okay to keep learning, and having somebody who is higher than you. You don't have to be the know-it-all in the room,
right, right.
to so many people just get caught up in that mentality, like, oh, I have to know everything and I have to be the smartest person in the room. Yes and no. I mean, smart, it's almost like one of those, like, work smarter not harder type of things. If you can learn from somebody else and they can help you grow, like, it's better than you trying to cram everything in your head and then trying to impress a bunch of people and it go completely wrong.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I definitely agree on that.
No, it's crazy, man. Oh man. Um, what was I gonna say? I was gonna mention there was something that you said, and I was gonna address it too. So I know you mentioned. So you're married,
Yes,
correct? Congrats, congrats. I'm
thank you.
married myself as well too. What is it? 7 years now. She's gonna kill me if she hears me say that. I think about 7 years now. How's that been for what's like the balance like for you if you care to again if you care to share, what that balance is like when it comes to music and then obviously, you gotta take care of the wifey.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say weird individual, but I'm very stuck in my ways. So I'm very, if I have a thought, I got to do it. You know what I'm saying? So like if I want to work, I got to work. I don't care what's in my way or anything. So my
Hmm.
wife, I really have to thank her because she's been holding me down for so long, putting me before anything all the time, even though I tell her not to all the time. Tell her, do a little something selfish, do a little something for yourself, but she don't care. She loved me that much, I guess. Um, but with the whole balancing act, I can't say it's been too difficult for me because, like I just said, my wife really puts this music, thing really serious. She kind of puts it before any of her dreams, which is kind of crazy.
Wow.
But she's been helping me a lot throughout the years, especially on the technical side and just keeping me afloat. There was one time, I think around 4 years ago, I was unemployed for like 6 months and she did not care. She like, do what you got to do, in music. And she just held me down. So I love her for that, forever. And
Yeah.
so with the whole balancing act thing, it's just, it sounds like I'm bragging, but it's a little easier for me than most people because my wife is all in. So, I mean, um,
Hmm.
all she asks for is one day. If she gets one day out of the week, she's cool. So it's
Word.
kind of crazy, man. I guess I'm lucky, or I don't know, but with the whole balancing act, it's really not much of a hassle. But what about you? Because you've been married a lot longer than me. I've only been married for about 2.5 years, but I've been with her for pretty much 10. So
Yeah. I mean, it does get challenging at times, as I'm sure you know as well too. Um, but I do my best. I think a lot. Again, I have my days. I'm human. What can I say? But I definitely try to do my best to have that type of balance where I'm not because I just understand. I don't know. Maybe I'm just rambling a little bit, but it just I view it this way, and I'm not. It's in no way, shape, or form to knock what you just said. Um, it's like one of those things for me. Like obviously, like I quote unquote, I use this loosely. I signed up for marriage, so for me, like I want to make sure that I am devoting my time because I always view it again in my own perspective of I could personally lose music tomorrow, and if I have ruined something because and everyone's different. Your wife is on board. Others may not be so on board.
yeah,
But I say that to say this is if I lose music tomorrow, I don't want to push away my marriage because I wasn't giving the time that I needed to with my marriage, based on the circumstances of that versus anything else. Because again, music could be gone for me tomorrow, but if I could still have that one person that has dedicated their life to me, I
yeah,
want to make sure that I'm doing everything deemingly possible to do that. But I try to balance my time as much as I can. Again, do I have better days than others? Yeah. Do I have some tough days? A little bit, yeah. But we try to do other things. We go to church together. We have our weekends off, so even if it's sometimes just watching TV or just taking a quick trip somewhere, and just trying to spend some time together, do something. But it's for me it's a little trying to find that balance, and sometimes like I said, some days are better than others, but I think we have a pretty good groove of what we're doing. She's got her thing that she does, and we try to support each other, both in what we do. So, it definitely helps in that case. She has her own business, I have music. So, she'll wear her business to my shows, and, we'll try to kind of cross promote sometimes, with what we're doing. So, it kind of works hand in hand a little bit. But, we definitely make it work. And she definitely supports what I do. Sometimes it does get to be a lot sometimes, because sometimes I do take it a little too far, and then I'm like, all right, Jay, like, let's pull it back a little bit, because, you do have to, give that day, type of deal, and
Yeah.
sometimes, like, you know, to use your example, like, I start cutting into that day, and then I'm like, whoa, Jay, like, remember, man, remember, this is somebody that, you got to respect just as much as, your music too.
Um, I definitely agree. And I will admit right here live, I'm a better father than I am a better husband, but I will try to work on giving more attention to my wife because I know she deserves it. I know she wants it. But in the state of my mental health right now, like I said, with everybody passing on me, my grandmother was like my mother. Um, I never knew my father. My mom kind of gave me up to my grandparents when I was a baby. So those are pretty much my grandparents are pretty much my parents. So it was a lot of back and forth for me as a child. And
Hmm.
so with like I said, I'm gonna try to be a better husband because with everything just going on in my life with my mental health, like I said earlier, I haven't been able to really take in all those deaths right now. There was three big deaths for me last year, and it was my grandmother, my homie, and my music mentor. So my wife understands kind of where I'm at. I love being alone, pacing around a room, listening to music just to get my thoughts together. Sometimes I got to dance with my demons to stay emotionally tough, and I don't know, bro. Like I said, I am a way better father than I am a husband. But with the whole balancing act, I'm definitely going to try because you actually inspired me with everything you just said, with how you and your wife. Because when I was there, I actually saw her with you, supporting you when you were up there. I don't
Hmm.
know if we formally met. I forgot if we did, but I'm pretty sure we did. But I do follow her on Instagram. I know she's been away for a while. She just got back on the social, so I saw that.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, man, I wish you luck with everything with your wife because I know
Likewise,
it's
man.
it's it's not easy, especially with mental health and like deterioration of like your happiness and like your pride and everything. I don't know, man. It's just tough right now.
Yeah, no, I definitely, it's like weird. Like, we're, I know exactly what well, I don't know exactly what you're going through, but I have a very similar sense of kind of that. Um, when I didn't grow up with my dad as well, and but we would write letters back and forth, and I'll try to make a long story less long.
It's dope.
And so wrote letters. Basically, parents split when I was two. Wrote letters till I was what, 24, maybe somewhere around there.
Oh wow.
Then we finally exchanged numbers, where I was a little bit older, and kind of was just like, Mom, like, I want to talk to my dad, basically. So exchanged phone numbers, talked to him on the phone. Eventually flew out and actually got to meet him. I spent a week with him, and then literally 3 months later he passed away.
Mm,
And then, so that, for me, that was tough in the sense of, it was almost weird, because it was almost like what you said, like, I don't know what to feel right now, because, like, this was somebody who I had lost, but I never really had that close, like, relationship with. So it's
right.
like one of those things. Not to put it in the same category, but it's almost like,
It's fine. I'm
you're
not
the
taking any
dude
offense or anything.
that, the dude, down the street you find out passes away. You don't really know him, but you know of him. You know, you still feel that like, oh man, that sucks. You know, that stinks. But like, you don't feel, you know, that pain and that hurt that of like, you know, a family member that you've known, you know, your entire life. That,
So
you know, some people can feel.
you kind of viewed your father as like kind of like a good friend.
In a sense, just because I never got to really meet him in the physical, only for that week. So it was like trying to cram 20 years into a week. And again, it's almost like you're meeting up with your friend versus
Yeah.
like having a week and then like more time to spend with him to build on that. It was like you spent a week, then I flew home because he lived in Washington State. Flew home, and then, you know, obviously I couldn't fly right back. And then 3 months later, you know, I get a call, he's not doing too well. I got to fly back out there, and then he passed away that the night that I got there. So it was
Oh,
just like
wow,
one of
man.
those things. I was like, I don't even know how to handle this. And then, like, I think a year and a half later, my sister, who again, kind of in a similar scenario because it's from my dad's side,
Yeah.
didn't really grow up, didn't grow up with her either. She passes away. Then 6 months later, my nephew and his girlfriend, they pass away. And I'm like trying to like process all of this. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I feel like I should be hurting more, but like it's just not, like I don't know what to feel right now, and I don't know how to process it. I don't know where I'm at. And then, you know, this goes on for like a couple years, and then eventually like I'm driving to work and I'm listening to a song, and I literally just start bawling my eyes out. And just, like my dad just picks pops in my head, like my family, and I'm like crying, like on my way to work, just in tears. And I'm like, this is like kind of what I've been waiting for. And then, you know, I started putting it into the music of just how I really felt. And, you know, it was such a therapy for me to be able to literally just be vulnerable and brutally honest about how I felt. Like I have two songs. One's called Empty Voice, and then the other's called Dad's Flow. Now, Empty Voice is like how I felt in the anger and the frustration of the situation of, you know, him and my mom, to, you know, choices that I made as well, and just how things panned out. I wish it turned out different. I got to, you know, spend time with him. Then I have Dad's Flow, where it's kind of the opposite of like, yeah, I didn't get to meet you, but like all my family tells me is I carry your mannerisms with me, even though I've basically spent a week with you, but they see all the mannerisms in me. So I'm like, you're still with me. So I have to learn to appreciate that, in that sense of, you know, you're just living in me basically. And, you know, I can't be mad at that, and just be proud of that, and just wear that proudly. You know, as I, you know, go through, you know, each day that God gives me. But yeah, it was just, you know, one of those things. It was like weird to know what to think, how to process it. And again, like, you know, mine's a little bit, maybe a little more spread out, but it was still like all these, you know, close people that I've lost. Like, how do I kind of process this?
Yeah. And honestly, other than my wife, I don't really have anyone to really talk to it about, especially because it would be, well, I mean, not talking about it right now to you, so that's funny, but it would be like, you know, to like complete strangers if I would ever do that. And the whole thing with your father, I'm actually really glad to hear that you at least got to write to him often and you actually got to meet him, because that's crazy. Because honestly, like with my father, I had to learn to love, fight, and think without a dad, you know, and
Hmm.
like I, I learned the hard way, bro. Like, you know, when I was young, I overloved, you know, when in terms of like crushes and family members. So I got hurt a lot. Um, when it came to fighting, I got rolled on pretty bad in 2005, and but that's when I found out that I wasn't made of glass. and then I was tough. So I learned how to fight. And then in terms of thinking, um, it's not that I was immature. I just wasn't willing to grow. And I felt like if my father was around, even if he was a piece of shit, he would teach me not to be like him. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So it'll be some type of
Yeah,
guidance, some type of guidance, you know? And I was raised primarily by women. And that's
same.
sometimes a good thing, sometimes it's not. But yeah, man, like with your father, I'm sorry about that. I wish you had more time. Um, but honestly, for my dad, if you're out there, man, I didn't even care if we ate out of ramen noodles for the rest of my life. You know, it's just crazy how, people just leave, and he was a kid. He was 17 years old. So I don't really blame him too much, because I'm 30 and I kind of understand, what I'm saying? 17,
Yeah, yeah,
having a kid and wanting to bounce. I mean, that's cool. That's on him. If he were to pop out of nowhere, I'd forgive him. We could chop it up. I don't think I could ever like love him, but we could chop it up and be good friends, almost like, kind of like how you and your dad were going in that step. Um,
hmm
but that's crazy with the whole like mannerisms things, because like even though you didn't know him like that, the fact that you grew up having those mannerisms, is like it's just kind of wild, bro. How like
yeah.
genetics and like all that stuff works, like you did not know this man, but then you're doing the same stuff he's doing, and your family's basically
hmm
like talking him up like, oh, your dad's great, or he did this just like you or whatever, and that's pretty cool, man. So I'm really
Yeah,
happy
it
for
was
you,
such
but
a
my heart goes out for you, so I'm sorry about that, man.
no. I mean, it to go off of two things. One, and hopefully I don't forget both. One was, I think when you don't have those people, I think it's almost like one of those things you learn what not to do by having them not present, because like you learn like you said, and we were talking about a little bit earlier, like with your marriage, it's like I know what it's like to not have a father figure in my life, so I know what the results of that kind of can be. You've obviously made growth in that, but to say, I know what not to do. Like I need to be present. That is the most important thing. I know what it feels like to not have that person, so I know
Yeah,
how my child is gonna feel with that. So I need to make sure that I'm doing everything possible to be that father in my child's life.
right.
And then the other thing, which there we go, it's gone. Um, yeah, so like, even the week that I got, it was something that taught me of, dude, like appreciate that. Like, cause again, like I said, like I was angry. I was like, man, like I only got a 1 week. Like, what the heck? Like I wanted more time, to be able to talk and questions and answers and yada 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 yada. But I was like, yo, like there's so many people that have it worse. Like just appreciate what you have, because there are people that have never met their father or gotten a chance to even write a letter to them, let alone meet them in person. So like who am I to be so ungrateful to, at least get a week when there's people that, like I said, just haven't had a chance to even put a pencil to paper to write them a letter, let alone talk on the phone or meet
Yeah,
in person.
yeah, definitely agree.
So
Kind of falling back like full circle to that like mental health thing. Yeah, man. Right now, it's a tough time for me. It's a tough time for a lot of people. But I kind of hit me what you just said. A lot of people can have it worse, and that's true. With the world, what's going on right now, in other countries and everything.
mhm.
My story pales in comparison. So I shouldn't really be too down in the dumps about it. But I'm trying my best to push through. Trying my best to make deadlines with music. I got some work with J Plus and Loan that
Word.
that I should be going full steam ahead, but it's like things at home are not very good, and it's not like dangerous or anything, but it's just not very good mental wise, and I don't want to let people down, especially because people like Greatness, J Plus and Loan, at one point in time they didn't know me at all, but they gave me so many opportunities, even though they
Shout
didn't.
out to all of them.
Shout out to all of them, man. Love those guys. They didn't owe me a thing, bro. Like when I went to go visit, Jay just invited me to watch. You know what I'm saying? Greatness had no business putting me up on that stage to speak my piece or say anything. He's like, go up there and spit. And I'm just like, nah, like these people paved the way. These people probably, you know, I don't know, like, you know, maybe some of them paid to get on stage, and here I am coming from another stage, just, you know, stealing their spot. I ain't gonna do that. It's like, nah, go ahead. So I did it, and I guess the reception was good. But
Yeah.
it was just it was crazy to me because I never experienced anything like that before, and I've been rapping for a long time. Usually here in Chicago, I'm not trying to downplay my city at all or talk shit or anything like that, but it's very uh, cliquish, very tight knit. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't know somebody or know somebody's cousin or friend or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like you ain't gonna
Yeah.
get into certain areas or certain show. I don't know, but like the fact that the mass scene is so open, so loving, so supportive is crazy to me, bro. That whole trip that I was there, it was like a dream. Like I felt like I was signed to a label, and because I was always riding with Jay Lone and Noah and Great, and we were just always doing something with music, bro. It was crazy. Like I haven't done that in years. It's been years. But shout out to the mass scene. I love all of you. A lot of people that I haven't, you know, that I haven't mentioned, but it's just too many to count. Y'all are amazing. This is how I met Jay Faith, so I appreciate that. It's just crazy. Like that was really good for my mental health, bro. So I really love Jay for you know, telling me to come out. You know, I had a little scratch to go, you know, plane ticket and you know the hotel to go enjoy myself for a bit. My wife said go, even though I have a little girl at home. She said go, and that's another thing going full circle again with the whole marriage thing, bro. Like she's really got
Yeah.
my back, 150%. So when I was really down in the dumps, she told me to go because I said Jay was inviting me out to watch some shows over there. And, it's kind of crazy how this con was going full circle with all that stuff. But yeah, shout out to greatness. Shout out to Paranoia. Shout out to Jay Faye. Shout out to Lone, J Plus. Appreciate you guys, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are definitely some great dudes. J Plus I've known for a couple years now. We've done, a little bit of work in the past, like my project Last One Out to, even to my latest album Moving Out. He's got some work on there too. So, I've known him for years. Greatness I've only known for definitely like less than a year, but just his vibe and just acceptance of people, and like you said, like just bringing you up on stage, like, dude, we have music culture, like, why not share music, type of mentality. And it's so dope to see. It's really refreshing, especially some of the things that I've seen, it might come up, and then even recently to see people that are starting to be more receptive and open, and just open to different, music types, and just getting people up there and to be able to share their music. It's super dope. And with the mental health thing, I think one of the things that I've always learned, and continue to work on for myself, is you can't expect to kind of like fix other people if you haven't kind of worked on yourself, and yourself isn't where it is. So you got to
Agree.
take that time to you got to take that time to really recenter yourself sometimes, and just get yourself back to where it needs to be, before you can really deliver you know quality music, or a friendship or a marriage. Like, it starts from in here, and it's got to express itself outwards. So you gotta take that time to just make sure that everything is in check, because you can't help other people if you're broken yourself, in a sense.
Absolutely. That is 110% the truth, man. You speaking facts right there.
Thanks. Yeah, it was just, sometimes, one of the other things that I've learned too is, you as especially as artists, sometimes we hit those writer blocks or just those moments of, where do I kind of go from here? Like sometimes we just have to let life happen for a little bit and just take a step back and just kind of almost observe and just let things kind of seep into us and, experience new things. And that's where, creativity can spark and you can get a little bit more motivation and ideas and, things of that nature.
Yeah, absolutely. With everything that I'm kind of going through right now, I know I got some songs coming. It's all in here, but it's just got to come out. I just got to hear the right beat, I guess. But
Hmm. It happens, man. Like I went through one of those periods too, especially recently. And I was like, man, like nothing is falling. Like I just don't, I haven't written in a while. You know, where am I going with this? Trying to figure, even just those pieces out, along with, obviously just dealing with life in general. But, just trying to figure out like what is stopping me right now and what is going on. And eventually, again, just kind of letting life happen and not forcing it so much. I know for me, it just helped me just find that creativity and that inspiration where before, like, I'm like, oh, I gotta get a song done, I gotta get a song done, I gotta get a song done, I gotta find that
yeah,
lyric, I gotta find this, I gotta find that. And then I'm like nothing's coming. So eventually I was just like, dude, like just take a step back and just let it flow, just take a second off of music in a sense. And just let kind of things just happen, and eventually like you just hear a beat somewhere or something, and then instantly you're just like bar, 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 and then everything just happens and you're just like, okay, okay, like now, like you just feel refreshed too. Like when you're tired, man, like sometimes you just in general, like you come home from work, long day, like you don't want to do nothing. You just want to kick back, watch some TV or something. Like it's almost the same thing with music. Like, but then once you're refreshed, you're like breath of fresh air. I can just go right at it.
no, I definitely agree. Um, the mindset is right now. I'm just rolling with the punches, and I hope that with everything with you, that the ball keeps rolling because I know right now you're going to be releasing some new stuff and you're actually performing a lot. I see. Um, I saw you were in a couple of posters I saw on Instagram. Um, but like I said earlier, reverting back to the relationship stuff, with you and your wife being a team and trying to really balance each other, keeping that mental health afloat. Like right now, to do this, my wife left the house. Like she didn't want no type of noise. She didn't want. It's just crazy, man. It's crazy. So I got to get on the ball with being a better husband. It's probably the toughest job I've ever taken. Um, it's just nuts, man, with everything going on.
Hmm.
How to stay afloat, be an artist, try to be relevant, try to create relationships like I'm doing with you right now. So I knew I had to take the time and do this because not only am I thankful for the opportunity, but it gets stuff off of my chest, and maybe someone listening or seeing is feeling the same way, and they can relate to that and maybe feel better and get the ball moving, especially in these hard times.
Absolutely, and that's what this is all about. And why I started this was because I don't want people to feel alone or feel like they're the only person that is going through what they're going through. There's plenty of people that have those similar experiences. And again, I'm grateful for, people like you that take the time to open up and share those experiences
Yeah,
because it can only help other people, going through the same thing. And I think it's just so valuable, and so again, just thank you for, for the time and doing something like this. And I know we could go for hours and hours on what we're saying, but to even, pack in what we have so far. I mean, it's one of those things that just people can really connect with, and just realize how important some of these concepts are that we've talked about. Um, it's you're not the only, and I'm not saying you specifically, but like those that are watching, like you're not the only person that is going through that. There are people that are here and that can support you, and give you advice on how to make it through, and you're not alone in these circumstances.
100%, bro.
So what I like to do before we usually wrap up, like to put people on the hot seat for a little bit, and with one final question. So, and it could be something that we've already discussed,
Yeah.
but I like to always ask, what is the best piece of advice that you've been given thus far? That can be music, that can be life, whatever it may be. Just, what is kind of the best piece of advice that you've been given thus far?
For music or life?
It can be either or. Just like, just what's, something that kind of sticks with you, as just like that motivator piece of advice that you've been given. And again, it could be something that we've kind of already said, but just something that,
Yeah.
you know to share with others, and just that piece of advice.
Yeah, I got something. It's kind of like two things like put together. Um, so artists, up and coming or even veteran artists, give your audience 2 plus 2. Don't give them 4. And what that really means is that speak your truth and say what you really want to say. Don't dumb
Hmm.
down your lyrics. You know what I'm saying? So give your audience 2 plus 2. Do not give them 4. Let them figure it out.
Ooh,
You know what I'm saying?
that's dope. That's dope.
And that was from one of my mentors.
That was
Rest in
dope.
peace, Robin Masters.
Amen. No, that was dope. I've never heard it put in such that, like, it's like one of those things, like, we always expect those words of wisdom to be like this big huge, like, just conundrum of things, and it's like, nah, man, just give them 2 plus 2, not 4, and it just makes so much sense, and it's mind blowing. It's so dope.
Yep, that is probably the single most best advice I've ever gotten from somebody like music related, but that also pertains to life too. I mean,
Hmm.
but then
Yeah, you
again,
gotta yeah, you gotta stay true to yourself. You gotta, we've mentioned this before, just being honest with yourself, being honest with your fan base, and that's what really connects with people, is how we're just relatable, versus putting on that false facade of who we think people want us to be, and in reality they're just like, dude, like, just give me who you really are. That's all I want at the end of the day.
100%, bro. And I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to show some people that haven't met me or, were kind of thinking about hitting me up. Now they got a better sense of who I am. So that's just going to help everything out. And I appreciate the talks that we're having. That brings us closer. I'm probably going to head down to Mass soon. So I'll see you then. Hopefully you're
Word.
free. If I'm down there, I'll hit you up.
Yes, sir. Yeah,
But
man. Yeah, definitely have to have you on here again. Continue the conversation. Before we wrap, is there anything you want to let the people know where they can connect with you? What you have coming up for them to kind of look forward to?
yeah, unfortunately, on the music side, during COVID, my whole YouTube channel was hacked and all my music was taken down. So that's a really sad thing. But I'm going to be coming up with a lot of new songs. It's going to be a lot of new emotions, a lot of new situations. So it's going to be great for everybody that's already heard me rap. You already know it's going to be dope. It's going to be lyrical. It's going to be passionate. You can follow me at on Instagram, underscore RedXLion underscore. Give me a follow there. I'm not really on Facebook too much, but you can follow me there at Richard Montalvo. Other than that, Jay Faith, appreciate you, bro. It's all love. God bless you and your family,
Likewise.
everyone around you, bro.
Likewise, man. Thank you again 100 times. Thank you for your time. God bless you as well, man. This has been super dope. For anybody that's watching now, watching later, appreciate you just tuning in. Make sure you tune in next Right Mind Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Make sure that you follow RedXLion for everything that he's doing. Stay tuned for clips, everything that we got going on for this episode and past episodes. A lot of inspiration and words that people can live by and take in and use in their own daily lives. But until next time, my name is Jay Faith. This is RedXLion. This is Right Mind Wednesdays. We out.
Take care, y'all.